Hi everyone, this is today's second video, and now we will have no less interesting stories. I will not detain you, let's get started. Story 1 from user GregFS. Alright, here goes. I'm old. What that means is that I've survived so far, and a lot of people I've known and loved did not. I've lost friends, best friends, acquaintances, co-workers, grandparents, mom, relatives, teachers, mentors, students, neighbors, and a host of other folks. I have no children, and I can't imagine the pain it must be to lose a child. But here's my 2 cents. I wish I could say you get used to people dying. I never did. I don't want to. It tears a hole through me whenever somebody I love dies, no matter the circumstances. But I don't want it to not matter. I don't want it to be something that just passes. My scars are a testament to the love and the relationship that I had for and with that person. And if the scar is deep, so was the love. So be it. Scars are a testament to life. Scars are a testament that I can love deeply and live deeply and be cut, or even gouged, and that I can heal and continue to live and continue to love. And the scar tissue is stronger than the original flesh ever was. Scars are a testament to life. Scars are only ugly to people who can't see. As for grief, you'll find it comes in waves. When the ship is first wrecked, you're drowning, with wreckage all around you. Everything floating around you reminds you of the beauty and the magnificence of the ship that was and is no more. And all you can do is float. You find some piece of the wreckage and you hang on for a while. Maybe it's some physical thing. Maybe it's a happy memory or a photograph. Maybe it's a person who is also floating. For a while, all you can do is float. Stay alive. In the beginning, the waves are 100 feet tall and crash over you without mercy. They come 10 seconds apart and don't even give you time to catch your breath. All you can do is hang on and float. After a while, maybe weeks, maybe months, you'll find the waves are still 100 feet tall, but they come further apart. When they come, they still crash all over you and wipe you out. But in between, you can breathe, you can function. You never know what's going to trigger the grief. It might be a song, a picture, a street intersection, the smell of a cup of coffee. It can be just about anything, and the wave comes crashing. But in between waves, there is life. Somewhere down the line, and it's different for everybody, you find that the waves are only 80 feet tall, or 50 feet tall, and while they still come, they come further apart. You can see them coming. An anniversary, a birthday, or Christmas, or landing at O'Hare. You can see it coming for the most part and prepare yourself. And when it washes over you, you know that somehow you will, again, come out the other side. Soaking wet, sputtering, still hanging on to some tiny piece of the wreckage, but you'll come out. Take it from an old guy. The waves never stop coming, and somehow you don't really want them to. But you learn that you'll survive them, and other waves will come, and you'll survive them too. If you're lucky, you'll have lots of scars from lots of loves, and lots of shipwrecks. Story 2 from user Accusing Sugar. This is a long one, few people will read it, and of those that will, few people will care. But since I'm anonymous, and Reddit glory is pretty useless, I don't mind saying it. What I'm going to say will sound bitter. It is, but it's also the truth. When I was young and knew nothing, I always wanted to be a hero. What that meant, I wasn't sure, but I knew a hero was just and kind and willing to do bold things. When you try to adopt a heroic mindset, it may start with the conscious desire to do good that will fade. As you foster it and make it a part of your identity, it will become a compulsion. You won't think of the reasons. Eventually, there won't be any. You'll sacrifice every comfort for others. You'll never receive the same treatment. You'll be satisfied with never receiving the same treatment. As a result, others will see your actions not as virtuous, but as expectations. You'll be fine with that too. You expect it from yourself anyway. But the more you look and the more you do, you'll see more apathy. You'll see more selfishness. You'll see very few people like yourself. They are elusive. They don't connect with others easily. Being the change you want to see inevitably pits you against seemingly impossible odds, but compulsions don't weigh the odds, compulsions act. It is a lonely, lonely existence, and a very heavy burden. There's no heroic fanfare for the sacrifices you make. It isn't a movie. There's no sudden realization from others about how valuable you may be. You will be forgotten until there is a need. There is a lot of hate I feel, as though I've sacrificed a lot for people and was willing to sacrifice much more that, thankfully, I never ended up having to. I believe you should do good things because they are good, and for no other reason, but it hurts. It hurts a lot. Edit. I expected this to get 35 tops. Instead, this became my most popular comment of all time. Thanks for the kind words and gold. Now there is extrapolation in order. A lot of people are arguing about what heroism is. That's good. When I was small, my hero was Hulk Hogan. He said his prayers and are his vitamins, and that didn't age well, did it? The concept of heroism is a window into someone's own heart, not an ironclad concept. This is why I didn't mention specific deeds or even rationalities. Everyone's idea will be different. Spreading those ideas is good. I value the concept of sacrifice above all others. Some may value other qualities. That's fine. I knew there would be several people that went on about how cringe it is. I thought about preemptively mentioning it, because a great deal of people on Reddit love berating people for being honest and kicking them when they are down, but didn't think it very important. They can be safely ignored. Relating people on Reddit, an anonymous forum, to people that they meet in real life that rant to anyone that will listen, just seems incredibly nonsensical to me. What I wasn't expecting was relations to our nice guys. I was fairly certain that had to do with people that were angry about being rejected romantically, and I don't really have those problems. If anything, I'm extremely picky in that regard. Just because you believe you should do good for goodness sake, it doesn't mean it's always going to leave you with a warm and fuzzy feeling. Sometimes you do good for people you absolutely loathe, and for no other reason than that it is right. Deserving isn't a concept I care to acknowledge, but I think it's rather despicable for someone to deny the pain of others and call them entitled for feeling wounded, yet doing what is right anyway. Ignore these people. You only need to look in their own posts to invalidate them. For instance, people that work in the medical field. A lot of people idolize them, and rightly so. It's a field that requires calm in unimaginable scenarios, for me at least, that goes against our basic instincts and often do harm toward a greater end, resolving a medical issue. Something like that requires an ironclad will, and I believe that deserves recognition. To others that work in that field, I can see how it can become the norm, just their job. But I don't scorn people that feel they aren't getting the recognition they deserve. Some might say that mentality is toxic, but I say it only becomes toxic when people decide to withdraw their good deeds because of it. Lastly, and I know this is long, and I apologize, this was specifically fashioned to not put me on a glorified pedestal. I am not proclaiming myself a hero. I'm not listing my deeds. I am saying I take concepts that I would find heroic and apply them. You don't have to agree, and I am aware of my faults. I am opinionated, I am disagreeable, and I enjoy my solitude to a certain extent. I am looking to express myself, not to gain anyone's praise. What I think is worth mentioning, though, is that for every famous person that spends a little of their time doing something undeniably good, or putting coin into something which is relatively a pittance by comparison to them, while they receive massive notoriety for it, there are thousands of people that put everything they have into others and are entirely unsung. I believe it's worth pondering. Story 3 from user Gillesco. This is a tie for me. First of all, in all likelihood, a lot of people whose friendships or otherwise relationships you place high value on do not feel that symmetrically, particularly if you happen to be a person prone to regularly expressing love, admiration, affection, etc. Most people, most of the time, don't care about you like you care about them. Second, the traditional wisdom that superlative hard work, attention to detail, ambition, friendliness, and initiative is the closest thing to a surefire route to success. In any given organization is dead fucking wrong 95% of the time. Bosses, especially in large organizations, don't want people who perform at such a high level that they're zeroing in on their own jobs or future promotions, and making real friends at work in 2020 is the equivalent of talking to cops from a defense attorney's perspective. It will never, ever, ever help you, and can only hurt you. Best outcome is neutral. If you want to succeed in business, go ever so slightly, but consistently, above and beyond. Clock out when it's time to go, and leave work, and everyone there, at work. The good thing about harsh truths is that they are indeed truths. And while these twin realizations sent me into a serious tailspin for about a year not too long ago, I'm much happier today for having gone through that process. I seriously winnowed my field of friends with whom I am in regular contact. And while it hurt at first, the ones I have now, and I have never been closer or more satisfied with our friendships. And at work, I no longer spend every waking moment at least a little stressed about my performance or what goes on at the workplace. It feels like a miracle, in all honesty. Hope that helps someone out there have a slightly easier go of it than I did in my early 20s. Story 4 from user BlickyJ. People will do whatever it takes to protect themselves and their reputations, no matter how much they claim to be for integrity and morality, no matter who is harmed. Unnecessary anecdote below. Since I have a ton of ridiculous life experiences, I almost died because a school nurse prescribed me 2 cold medications to take concurrently that had extreme drug interactions with each other. This effect doubled because she had me taking one med 2x more frequently than directed and the other 3x more frequently. I started overdosing at 11 p.m. that night after taking 8 combined doses of each drug that I only should have had 2 doses of. Vomiting, shaking, unable to stand, vision faded and distorted, and ran to the nurse's station from my dorm, boarding high school, with my last bit of energy before collapsing at the door. The same nurse was on night shift, immediately realized what she'd done, and dragged me to the solitary recovery room where she kept dousing my forehead with ice water when I passed out, and kept feeding me crushed ice when I'd come to for hours, between sneaking out to man the front desk and pretend no emergency was happening in case a student or dorm parent came through. Between lapses of consciousness, I heard her muttering to herself about how I was gonna die, and she could not call an ambulance because she'd break and fess up under pressure, and she really needed this job and couldn't afford to be sued. I went from horribly hot and sweaty to freezing cold and sweating bullets, thirstier than the Sahara was dry. She snatched all the blankets off the bed and stripped my sweater off my body. I saw her take my temperature, and the digital thermometer read 107 degrees as she gasped and wrung her hands. I sorta just accepted that I, a then 14-year-old, was about to die. I had come in on a Friday night, so I knew no one would find out until the next day, maybe Sunday depending on how much hell my mom would raise if I missed our nightly call. I ultimately saved myself when, trying to grab at my sweater from the nightstand with my shaky arms, I accidentally knocked her cup of ice flakes onto my bed and face, then promptly passed out from exertion. I woke up around 3 p.m. the next day, face down in a pool of warm water, with a normal temperature of 99 degrees Celsius, in a frosty room that was about 60 degrees Celsius, because she cranked up the AC while I was out. She snuck into the room a few minutes after I woke up, practically ecstatic, and crying, saying she thought I was gonna die, and that she spent the night in the neighboring recovery room to check on me. She never even signed me into the system that night, as I found out almost a year later. It's been more than 6 years, and I've accepted it's just one of those nights that I'll remember for the rest of my life with crystal clarity. Thanks to everyone who was here today. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.